My name is Ryan Mitchell. I'm a 39-year-old tech consultant living in the quiet suburbs of Bellevue, Washington. My life, for the most part, has been a clean balance of high-functioning chaos. Early mornings, back-to-back meetings, endless coding, sprints, and late-night ramen. After my divorce 2 years ago, I filled every crack in my life with work. It was the easiest way to avoid the silence of my home. The house was big for one person, cold even with the heater on. And after months of half-eaten takeout boxes and laundry mountains I never folded, finally did what I swore I wouldn't. I hired help. She came recommended by a friend who swore she was the best. Her name was Emma Carter. She was in her early 30s, efficient, polite, and almost too quiet. She never interrupted me, never lingered. She wore light-colored scrubs and always pulled her hair into a loose ponytail that bounced when she walked. In the beginning, she was just part of the background, like the hum of the fridge or the soft click of my mechanical keyboard. Emma would come by twice a week, usually mid-morning, while I was knee-deep in work. I barely noticed her. I wasn't rude, just distracted. She'd clean around my chaos, wash the dishes I left behind, fluff the pillows on the couch I hadn't sat on in weeks, and bring a bit of order into a life I had no time to maintain. That changed on a Tuesday. Tuesdays are brutal in my world. That particular day, I had a pitch meeting over Zoom with a billion-dollar client, the kind where your words have to be exact and your nerves have to be steel. I wore a blazer over a wrinkled t-shirt and forced a smile as I sold them on a product I'd stayed up till 2 a.m. fixing bugs, and, after an hour of dodging curveball questions, the call finally ended, and I leaned back in my chair, pulling off the blazer with a grunt. I was exhausted and damp with sweat. I tugged at my shirt, peeled it off, and flung it onto the back of the chair. I sat there, shirtless, muscles sore, rubbing my temples with both hands. I didn't hear the door open. I didn't hear her footsteps, but I felt the moment, that distinct pause in the air. I turned slowly and saw Emma standing in the doorway holding a basket of clean towels. Her eyes widened and her mouth opened just slightly, like she was about to speak, but the words got stuck in her throat. She froze. So did I. Her eyes weren't judgmental. They were locked on mine, caught between shock and something else. For a second, neither of us moved, then I cleared my throat. Emma, I said, reaching for a hoodie draped over the armrest. I didn't realize you were still here. She blinked. I just finished the upstairs. I was coming to switch out the linens. She didn't sound embarrassed, just surprised. I nodded, slipping on the hoodie as she turned quickly, and disappeared down the hallway. Awkward. Absolutely. But it lingered all day. I replayed that moment in my head. The way she looked at me. The stillness. There was something so unfiltered in her reaction. Something I hadn't seen in anyone's eyes since before my marriage had crumbled. I figured it would pass. That the awkwardness would fade and we'd go back to the usual distant professionalism, but it didn't. Something had shifted, not in a dramatic way. No boundary was crossed. No words were said out of line, but there was a subtle tension now, one I couldn't ignore. The next few visits were different. Emma would glance at me longer than necessary. Not in a creepy way, more like curiosity laced with caution, like she was trying to understand me beyond the clutter and coffee cups. I noticed the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when I said thank you. How she smiled when I asked her if she wanted a bottle of water. How she hesitated at the end of her cleaning schedule, as if she wanted to say something, but always thought better of it. And I realized something I hadn't felt in a long time. I looked forward to seeing her. It started small, that a shared laugh over a dropped plate, casual chit-chat about the weather. Then it evolved. I found myself asking about her, where she was from, what she liked to do. She told me she'd grown up in Oregon and moved to Washington to help her younger brother get through college. She loved reading and hiking and had once dreamed of being an artist, but put it all on hold for family. I listened. I really listened. One rainy Friday, I came home early. She was just finishing up the living room, stacking the cushions neatly. I kicked off my shoes and said, "Long day." She smiled, "Every day is long when you clean after tech guys." I laughed. Touché. Then I did something impulsive. I walked into the kitchen, grabbed 2 mugs, and made tea. "You ever take a break?" I asked, placing one in front of her. She looked at the cup like it was foreign. "I shouldn't," she said. "Why not?" Sh. Didn't answer, but she sat. We talked for 2 hours. I learned that her mom passed away when she was young. That she raised her brother practically on her own. That she cleaned homes during the day and took online classes at night. She was smart, thoughtful, and way stronger than I could have guessed. When she finally got up to leave, I walked her to the door. "Thanks for the tea," she said, pulling on her coat. "Thanks for the conversation," I replied. Her hand lingered on the doorknob. Then she looked back. "I'm glad I walked in that day," she said softly. It hit me like a wave. I am too. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind ran wild with thoughts, what ifs, memories of her laughter, the kindness in her voice, the way she listened without judgment. For the first time in years, I felt seen. The days after that became a blur of slow changes. Emma kept showing up. I stopped pretending I didn't wait for her. She started bringing baked goods. I started cooking real meals. The space between us grew smaller, quieter, warmer. Then came the day she brought me a small canvas. "I painted this," she said, unwrapping it. "It reminded me of your backyard after it rained." The painting was abstract, but beautiful, shades of silver and green and soft blue. It felt like peace on a canvas. "I didn't know you still painted," I whispered. She shrugged. I started again after that day. That night, we didn't kiss, but I held her hand and everything in my life shifted. It wasn't fast. It wasn't dramatic, but it was real. Months passed. Emma eventually stopped working for me. Not because we crossed a line, but because we built a new one together, one of choice, of growth, of respect. People say connection is born from vulnerability. I believe that now, because if she hadn't walked in that day, hadn't seen me stripped down to nothing but tiredness and honesty, we might have missed this. It wasn't just about a moment. It was about what came after. And yes, I wish it happened sooner, but I'm grateful it happened at